Alright, in this video we're going to show you how to mark out your garden and put in your soil beds. Here, now that I've got my garden all cleared of rocks and weeds and roots, I put down my first border which defines the edge of my garden. You can see to the left of the string I have at least a 5-foot buffer area that goes all the way around the perimeter of my Mittleider garden. This keeps the bugs, the weeds, and anything else from encroaching into my garden. This is what really helps in having a weed-free garden. Now that I have that buffer zone defined, and it's really defined by the edge of the lawn, I put down some twine and I started measuring out for my soil beds. Measuring from the outside of the existing bed to the outside of the new bed, I'm measuring 3.5 feet for my walkway. Then measuring from outside corner to outside corner, I've measured out 18 inches, which is going to be the width of my new growing area. Now that I've established my soil bed area on both sides, I took the tiller and went in and tilled 8 inches deep right where the soil bed is going to be. I only want to till 2 inches deep in the walkway, but I want the roots to be able to go down deep into the soil. So tilling 8 inches deep in the soil bed is what you want to do. On the far end of my 30-foot row, I tied my twine so the line is on the outside of both sides of the soil bed. I prefer using a double half hitch on a bite, but any secure knot will work. This allows me to take it off if I need to, but on the other end, I've tied a tension knot, again to the outside of the stake. For the tension knot, bring the twine around the stake, pull it tight, continue wrapping the twine around the stake so it overlaps just above it like this. Then you're going to simply take the twine and flip it over the top of the stake and it holds just like that. This is really convenient when you need to move the line out of the way. You simply pull the line and it will come undone. With the growing area tilled and now marked, I'm reaching halfway across the established walkway and pulling dirt in underneath the string. When raking up this ridge to elevate the growing area, I stood as far back in the aisle as possible as to not to compact the soil. Now that I've completed this side of the soil bed, I can easily walk down this aisleway without worrying about compacting the soil. Now that I have the soil pulled up to the growing area, I'm going to pull in the ridges to the center and make a plateau. With my ridges pulled in, so I have a nice flat plateau which raises the growing area above the walkway, which allows for sufficient drainage so there is no worry about drowning the plants. I place my level on the end where the water source is coming. I then check my level to see if we're level. In a 30-foot bed, I want no more than 1 inch drop in 30 feet. I see that we're off a little bit level. I'll go ahead and raise the level and look at the end, and I can see that we're about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch low on that end. Overlapping slightly from before, I simply place the level on the top of the dirt, check for level again. I see that we're a little low on the opposite end, about 1/16 of an inch. Overlapping again, gently placing the level on the soil, I see that we're a little bit low on the end of the row again. I'll raise that up, and we're about 1/2 inch. That means we have a little bit of a high area in the center of the bed. The last time overlapping, then checking the center for level, I see that we're a little bit high on the end, and so with a little bit of raking I'll be able to adjust this so we have no drop or a little drop away from the water source. Because we have such a small drop, I'm going to use a rake to rake from the high spot towards the low spot. If it were an inch or two that I was worried about, I would maybe use a shovel, take a scoop of dirt here, throw it down on the low end. In this case, I'll simply pull from about the middle of the bed towards the end, and that should level it off. After moving the soil with the rake or the shovel from the high spots to the low spots and flattening it out with a rake, recheck your level. Here I'm right on the mark. Slightly overlapping again. Again, I check my level to see how I'm doing. A little low, about a 32nd of an inch. Nothing to worry about. On the next 8-foot length, I'm a little low, going away from the water source, which is just fine. That's about a 1/4 inch drop so far. Now, being down at the end of the bed, I recheck my level. I'm about another 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch off. So I'm less than an inch drop in 30 feet. So going away from the water source. So I'm in good shape. I'm ready to build my ridges. This time, to build the ridges, I'm pulling from the soil in the plateau, which is the center of the growing area, and pulling it underneath the twine and building up my ridge. I'll do that on both sides. With my ridges established in order to hold the water, and with the bed leveled so that my water flows smoothly and easily down to the end of the row, watering and spreading the nutrients evenly to the plants, I'm going to go ahead and firm up the sides of these ridges simply by tapping my rake all the way up the ridge. With my ridges reinforced with the rake, the growing area is well defined, and now I need to add nutrients to the soil. For the backyard gardener, it simply doesn't make economic sense to do a soil test every season or multiple times during the season. We're not going to depend on what the nutrients might be in the soil and which ones might or might not be available to the plants. We're going to give the plants everything that they need. To do that, we're going to pre-treat the soil. We're going to use 2 nutrient mixes, one called a pre-plant and the other weekly feed. The pre-plant nutrient mix is a combination of calcium, magnesium, and boron. And we want to pre-treat the soil at 1 ounce per linear foot. Having pre-weighed out a can, I've marked the can, so each time I want to add pre-plant to a new or existing 30-foot long soil bed, all I have to do is dip the can in, bring it up to that line, and then sprinkle the nutrient mix down the row. Staying close to the soil and putting it only in the growing area between the ridges, I'm going to evenly spread this pre-plant fertilizer down the bed. Now, taking 1/2 ounce per linear foot, I'm going to sprinkle this down the row just like I did with the pre-plant fertilizer. Using either a shovel, garden fork, or a small tiller that will fit in between the ridges, you want to go ahead and turn the nutrients into the soil. If you're going to use a shovel or the garden fork, place the shovel or garden fork parallel with the ridges so that when you step on it, you're stepping inside the ridges, and when you pull up, you're not pulling the ridges down. If you went sideways with your fork or shovel in the bed, you would damage the ridges. With the nutrients turned into the soil, I'm now going to finish off my growing area with the rake. I want to make sure it's nice and level. I'm pulling from the water source and coming down, making sure that the bottom of this is flat all the way across. I don't want a concave bottom, I want a flat bottom, because in here we're going to be planting the plants on the edge of the ridge, and we want the water and the nutrients in the center so they evenly spread out through all the plants. Checking my level one last time will ensure that I get even distribution of water and nutrients from one end of the bed to the other. So I'll go ahead and repeat the leveling process all the way down to the bed and make any adjustments if necessary. The soil bed is now complete and ready to plant. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. You can put in a garden at no cost at all using 4 sticks and 2 strings and start growing your food in the same day.